episode 21 Super Smoke Bros. I am here and we have our on this. I can't even believe I'm talking to this individual. I'm so stoked. And we have Super Sheehan up there too as well, and Miss Ann Whippen. And so I'm going to kind of give, if you don't know, and you've been under a rock in the barbecue world, you don't know who Ann Whippen is, I'm going to have an introduction for her here, and we're going to get rocking and rolling, and we getting to meet this barbecue titan. So, ladies and gentlemen, please prepare to welcome a true titan of the barbecue world. Tonight, we have the distinct pleasure of hosting a culinary powerhouse, a visionary entrepreneur and champion pitmaster. She is the president and owner of Wood Chicks Barbecue Restaurant and Catering Company and the driving force behind the renowned Wood Chicks Barbecue Competition team. A proud member of the Kansas City Barbecue Society and a KCBS certified barbecue judge. She possesses the unparalleled understanding of the art of smoked cuisine. Her expertise has graced screens across the nation with appearances on the Travel Channel, Today Show, 700 Club, and the pages of People magazine. She was a mainstay on TLC's Barbecue Pitmasters and famously triumphed over Bobby Flay on Food Network's Throwdown with Bobby Flay. Most recently, she's claimed victory on Food Network's Barbecue Brawl, cementing her status as a true master. And to top it all off, in 2022, she was rightfully inducted into the Barbecue Hall of Fame. Please join me in giving a thunderous welcome to the extraordinary Ann Whippen. Welcome, Ann.
That's so sweet.
Well, you did
really, really nice. I'm gonna cry. I feel like I'm on Academy Awards.
Oh, thank you. It's such a pleasure to have you on here.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be
here. Thank you. I'm glad you didn't think I was stalking you when I was emailing you, so I appreciate it. So,
no, not at all.
All right, Colin, do you want to roll with the first question, brother?
Yeah, let's go for it. All right, so we all have our own story. Zablocki and I, we got into barbecue through different ways, and everybody's kind of unique how they get started. So could you share your story and kind of what drew you to barbecue and how you kind of developed your style and how it came to be?
Uh-oh, my lights are going down. Yes, I sure can. And I owe where I am today to my dad, Jim Tabb, and avid barbecuer. And he and I started competing in 1996. We got certified as judges a couple of years before that. And he's a Kansas City boy, born and raised on my Nana's hog farm. And so he got me into the barbecue thing, and it's just snowballed. And my love of food and everything else combined. But that is where I got my start.
Awesome. And as you've seen on TV and things, competition barbecue can be so unpredictable. And that was your start. And it can be
this is what really got me going was, so we were certified as judges. I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. And they had the Georgia State competition, KCBS, and it was in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And I think they had like 97 teams. And I called my dad up. He had an old Oklahoma Joe. And I said, we should go compete. And he's like, oh, I don't know about that. And I said, oh, let's just do it for fun, and he lived in North Carolina. I said, just bring the Oklahoma Joe up and, we've judged it. We cook barbecue. Let's try it. And he said, okay. And I said, oh, and they have this extra category that they're doing. And he goes, what's that? And I said, whole hog. He goes, absolutely not. Yes. We are not going to do whole hog in our first competition. And I said, well, you can think about it, whatever. And he goes, all right, let's do it. So I hang up the phone, and the phone rings a few minutes later, and he goes, what size hog do you want? We ended up doing a hog. So we ended up winning grand champion at our first competition. Wow. We went to the American Royal and we won first place in pork. And I mean, that set the tone and just the overall drive for me to do it. I mean, everybody out there that's had a call knows that feeling. And so that really started it.
Wow. That is an awesome story.
That is an awesome story. Leanne, competition barbecue can be so unpredictable and unforgiving. What are some of the biggest challenges you face, and how do you adapt to them in real time?
Yeah, and I think that's what makes it fun. It's not, the same thing all the time. I like the challenge of, albeit the weather. The weather can cause problems. Wind especially, rain, cold. So you have certain obstacles there. I mean, you can have things go wrong, like, for example, on the All-Star Pitmaster show, and I think they mention it in there. This is when Myron was judging me. I had my Jambo that I had brought from Chicago down to Texas, and it had snowed in Chicago. And in the Jambo, there's a storage area underneath, and it has like a little grid, but there's like, air going through it. And it had snowed when we left. And, of course, the snow melted by the time I got to Texas, and I figured no problem. Well, it was a problem because all the wood was wet for the show. And when I tried to light it, it was just like smoldering, and so you just never know. And, you'll see on one of the Pitmaster shows that I lost power. And it isn't that I was using power, in the smoker. It was to run, the rotisserie portion of my Jetmaster. And I lost power, and that could be, a really bad thing.
Yeah.
So you just, you never know, but that's what makes it kind of fun and interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. Definitely keep you on your toes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's for sure. All right. This is a little bit switching gears a little bit, but one of our original members of this, his wife was a vegetarian, so I feel like this question would have been perfect for him. But what are your thoughts on kind of the popularity of smoked vegetables, or the increased popularity? Is that something you do very often? And then how do you kind of approach creating things that do not have meat in them?
When I am preparing a meal, I want to do as much as I can on the grill. It's less cleanup. It's
Yeah.
all into one area. So, and I love vegetables, so I don't have a problem with that. But I do feel like vegetables can be bland, so I tend to spice them a little heavier. I marinate vegetables, and I also like to put them over. I'll do a 2-zone fire and I'll throw them on the direct heat, just to get a little char on it, because I feel like that adds flavor to it too. So, and you could do stuff in iron skillets. I do the sweet potato casserole. That's fantastic. And so I'm all about, everything on the grill.
Yeah. Same here. Less cleaned up. That was my like one of my number one
Yes,
things.
that's delicious.
So, Leanne, what is one thing that you like to share that amateur pit masters, don't see when you're on TV or the videos or the social media when it comes to your, competition barbecue?
Oh, that's very easy to answer. It's the mess afterwards.
Oh, really?
It is on my trailer. It is an absolute disaster. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm kind of a messy cook anyway. I
Yeah.
clean, everything up afterwards, but when I'm in the zone competing, things are going all over the place, and they don't see that mess. They also don't see what a mess I am. Like I will have, charcoal, grease, whatever, all over everything. And that's why I wear a lot of black, so you can't see.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not just me that gets all dirty and everything. Like
Right.
when I,
And
okay.
I don't think the TV shows are that interested, so they cut that portion out, but it's
Yeah.
part of the whole process.
Yeah.
They also don't see what it takes going into a comp or into a show ahead of time. The homework that you have to do, the list that so you don't forget anything. It's not like you can run out to the store, at a comp. Sometimes you can, but on those shows, you're like in a designated area and you aren't going anywhere. So if you forget something, you're kind of in trouble. So I do my homework. I'm a big list person, and I tend to probably overcompensate, bring too many things. I've learned to cut back over the years, though. Less is more.
Good point. Good point.
Sure. Simple can be the best sometimes.
Yep.
All right. What types of woods do you prefer to use, and why? And then how do you kind of decide and select the right wood for different types of meats or different types of dishes?
So cherry wood on beef all day long. Brisket. I feel like it lends itself to a better smoke ring. Maybe it's my imagination. I don't know. I love cherry wood. I like apple, hickory, oak. Chicken. I definitely like to add some fruit woods to it. Peach, apple. A light, softer smoke. That it doesn't because chicken's kind of bland. You don't want to make
Yeah.
it too smoky.
Yep.
Fish. I like to use alder. I mix it up. If I have something like left over, I'll throw it all together. It's whatever I have. But I do favor certain woods for certain flavor profiles, like I said.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. I'm a big cherry fan. I always have been. And that's what I usually almost smoke everything with, is a mixture, some cherry and apple. I like how the soft smoke. I like how you describe
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I can never describe it, but it's just a little bit lighter, but that makes so much
Yeah.
sense.
And I'll tell you, if you gave me chicken that was smoked with, say, apple and oak and peach and oak, I probably could not tell you if you were using the apple or the peach.
Mhm.
I just don't get those, like that flavor. Like, oh, this tastes like apple,
Mhm. Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
it's a fruity kind of aroma and everything, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I just don't, I can't do that. Like if you put a whole bunch of meat in front of me cooked on different woods, there's no way I could tell you. I mean, I might have some idea, but of
Mhm.
course, some skeet, you're going to know.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
All right. So, there you have so many followers out there on social media, Leanne, and definitely rightfully so well earned. You know, but we're always interested in, especially our like tens of fans we have, is like who are some of the pitmasters that you follow on social media?
first of all, I'm very grateful for my followers.
Yeah.
The more the merrier.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I I am not really that good with social media. I don't have somebody handling my social media. That's why
Mhm.
my videos aren't so great. I what you see is what you get. But I don't go out there and search. I don't know. I just if something pops up on a pitmaster that I never heard of and it's kind of intriguing, I'll go ahead and follow them. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
But I have so many friends, that along the way, and so I follow my buddies, and
Mhm.
it's just natural because I want to see what they're up to, if I
Oh
haven't
yeah.
talked in a while,
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
All right, so smoking meat and barbecue, obviously, it goes back a long way, and it started a long time ago. And you mentioned starting with your dad, and kind of how you got brought into it. So, how do you kind of balance the traditional stuff and maybe stuff you were brought up with and taught when you were first starting versus innovation? And is there any sort of traditional things that you have adapted or kind of modernized?
Um, Always been low and slow to this day. I have increased my temp by maybe 50 degrees. But that's what my dad taught me. And even when he heard about the fast cooks coming along, he's like, don't do it, don't do it. Even though you might get more sleep. And so I, anytime I've cooked something fast, not in a comp, but just because the timeline, whether it was for a catering job or whatever, it just doesn't produce those results that I get with the low and slow. So now it's different when you're cooking at home because I'm a huge fan of two zone because I like to be able to cook indirect and then I like to get char on things and you have control. You can keep moving it around. And that's kind of the fun of, grilling and smoking also. Um, and then as far as innovation, all the gadgetry and stuff, I'm really not interested in that. I mean, I did use gurus, on my eggs in competition, and that's because I was a lot of the time by myself and I was managing all different pits because I just wouldn't use eggs. I'd have my Jed Master and then I'd have my bullets or whatever it is. So there was a lot to manage, and that was the only gadget that I've used along the way. I just enjoy the whole entire experience. And I feel like you're cutting corners, and I don't want to say cheating, but it kind of is. But it is a convenience. And for those who are not experts in the field, I think they're great. It's great. I represent Pit Boss Grills, and I get slammed because they're pellets. And I'm a huge believer in Pit Boss Grills for the people that it's good for. And that's like the novice, the one who's coming home from work and just wants to push a button, but still wants to have that smokiness in their food. Yeah, it might not be the smokiness that you get in a comp, but it's innovation that helps people that wouldn't smoke at all to at least be able to do it at home fast. You know what I mean? So
Yep. 100%. I think Zablocki and I can both kind of agree with that. We both have
Yes.
young children, and sometimes, they need our attention. And we both have Pit Boss pellet smokers, but we both have other smokers as well. So
Mhm.
it's definitely that convenience when we've got our kids and other stuff coaching. It's definitely, otherwise we wouldn't be able to do it as often as we would
there's
like.
a place for it. And
Mhm.
the hardcore people out there that criticize it, they have to understand the reason why it's there. They don't have to use it. Don't use it. If you want to, cook on something else, and cook on something else, to each his own. But it's just like cars, there's a million cars out there, a million
Yeah.
brands. Everybody has different tastes and likes. So why can't it be like that with smokers?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And that's like you said it. That's how I started. COVID. My wife bought me a Pit Boss, uh, and I just started. Started learning about it, and then I started watching shows, learning about you, and just really started doing research. And now I have, now I have the Smoky Mountain. I have the offset. I have a 6 foot
Yeah.
offset. I do it all, but when I have, it's convenient.
Biggest
Like I said,
mistakes that people getting into smoking meats, with wood or charcoal, is they think that they should put a lot of wood in there, like it's
yes,
gonna make it
yes,
better.
yep,
And they over smoke it, and you know what happens? It tastes absolutely, you can't even
yep,
eat it.
Yep.
yeah.
That bitterness, ugh.
Been there.
And I taste it when I'm judging. I'm just like, oh God. Um, but at least, with the pellets, you have more control. And that's certainly
Mhm.
not going to happen with a pellet cooker.
No, no, no. And you can add things like, I have a smoke tube. I'll throw in it if I want a
You
little
can
extra
add,
bark and stuff and things. So,
sure.
excellent. Oh, let's see. Now, Leanne, Colin and I both have memorable mistakes, and many of them in our journey here. And so, this is always a fun question for us because we
Mhm.
get a wide variety of answers. And so, what is the most memorable or challenging barbecue experience or mistake that you've had, and what did you learn from it?
I there are quite a few, but one in particular stands out. And I actually had helped to put this KCBS contest together. It was the first time they had it in Virginia Beach. And Carolyn Wells was there, and she was repping this contest because it was a first one. And I was kind of there on Smithfield's behalf, but doing my thing, competing. And after my turn-ins, Carolyn had this look on her face, and she's walking up to my trailer like something's not right. And I'm like, what happened? She goes, did you cut your ribs? I said, of course I cut my ribs. No, did you cut them all the way through? And I said, well, I thought I did. And she goes, you just got DQ'd because two of the ribs were sticking together by some meat. And I have never been DQ'd again. It will, and every time I cut ribs for a comp, I cut and move them to the side, cut and move them to the side,
Yeah.
that it never, ever happens again. And it is the worst feeling, especially because the other three categories I did quite well in. So I didn't really hurt myself and try to figure out the numbers because I don't want to go there. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was a bad one. That was
Oh,
bad.
yeah. But I love how you said it's never happened again, and like that
Nope.
adjustment you
Mm-mm.
made.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, mine wasn't like that, but I've ruined some meat. So, and I made too smoky of meat too, as well, because I put too
Yeah.
much wood into it. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Couple of last minute. All right, let's order pizza because this. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, so Leanne, did you ever imagine that your barbecue journey would kind of become what it is and inspire so many others? And how does that make you feel? What does it mean to you?
Um, I feel very blessed every day that I've been able to have barbecue be a large part of my life. And also in my family, as I said, I started with my dad, but my daughters got involved in it, and then the growth into restaurants, and it's just been I've been really fortunate, and the TV aspect of it has been a great experience too, because it's totally different to be under the stress of having cameras in your face and that sort of thing. But it's fun at the same time. And then if you do something well and you have your business, my restaurant's attached to it, it helps your business. So
Mhm.
yeah, I've been really fortunate in that respect. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking at and you have a restaurant in Chicago now too, correct?
Well, no, so I'm out of the restaurants now.
Are you? Okay.
I had Wood Chicks Barbecue in Virginia. I
Yeah.
had two of them there, actually three of them there. And then I went to Chicago and opened up Chicago Q. And I was there for 5 years, had a falling out with my partner, long
Oh, sorry.
story. So
Sorry to
I
hear
left
that.
Chicago Q and then went on as executive chef with a company that has Chicago Cut, a high-end steakhouse there. And they
Oh,
said,
nice.
do a barbecue concept with me. So we opened Southern Cut Barbecue. And that was for 2 years. And then in 2018, I moved down to Florida because that's where my mom and daughter, and she was
Mhm.
having kids and everything. So I moved down to Florida and opened up the Devil Pig. And then COVID hit. And it was a small place. It was kind of surviving with the fact that we did heavy takeout. And I had some partners there, and I just felt that it wasn't enough money to even survive on, with partners
Mhm.
and COVID and just everything. So at that point, I got out of barbecue and still was feeling the itch to get back into restaurants. And then I finally got over it.
Yeah. It's a tough business, the restaurant
Oh
business.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think I'm finally done. I'm not going to go back to
Yeah.
it. I have
Yeah.
carrots that are dangled in front of me now and again.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just have to learn how to say no,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
my family I actually spent so much time at the restaurants and competing and really lost a lot of time with them. And now I'm
Hmm.
kind of making up for that lost time, and just want to continue to do so.
Understandable. Very understandable. All right. So, Leanne, so we all like to prepare things on the barbecue pit. We know that's why we're here. That's why we love it. But are there any dishes or anything that you love to prepare that may not be associated with barbecue?
Oh yeah, my favorite thing to eat in the whole world is lobster.
Oh, I love lobster.
I
Yes.
cook whole lobsters
Uh-huh.
whenever I
Yeah.
can. It's always a special time, but
Hmm.
yeah, I'm a lobster freak, so that would
Hmm.
definitely be one of them. I think a video on my channel of grilled lobster tails because my daughter had caught the lobsters down here, so it was kind of fun. But there's nothing like a good Maine lobster with fresh drawn butter, and so
Hmm. I've only had it once and it was phenomenal. So,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. So
mhm.
yeah, I cook other things besides barbecue. I mean, I cook every single day. It isn't
Mhm.
always on the grill. I'm big into, believe it or not, sauces. I love the challenge of making a good, turkey gravy. I'm always
Yeah.
doing Thanksgiving, and it's like I want to make the best gravy, whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I love that.
Yeah, so I have fun
Yeah.
with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
I love good gravy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's the star of the show for me on Thanksgiving.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yep.
All right, and then so we talked about what you like to cook outside of barbecue, but what about just kind of like what you like to do? What does a Hall of Fame barbecuer like Leanne Whippen like to do when she is not barbecuing?
Well, as I said, a lot of family time. I mean, that's why I'm at the top of this building right now, because my daughter's in the apartment down below until her house gets rebuilt from the storm. And she has a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old, and she is having a big birthday weekend, and I'm babysitting
Oh,
overnight. So
awesome.
and then my mom's in Naples and she's not getting any younger. So I spend a lot of time down there, with her. So a lot of family time, a lot of that. I mean, I do a lot of work, on other barbecue things, but my favorite thing in the world to do besides barbecue is to fish. I've fished since I
Oh,
was a little girl, and I still have my original tackle box, and that is my favorite. And it was always freshwater because I was raised in Jersey. And now that I'm down in the salt water, my son-in-law has a boat, and it is just so much fun to go out there and drop a line and have no idea what you're going to catch. And it's just amazing to me. So, yeah, I won't say that I'm retired, but when and if I ever do retire, all I want to do is fish and grill.
nice, nice. Oh, that's
Sounds like great.
that sounds very good. Very nice, very nice. I
Yeah.
hope to get there too someday.
Yeah.
So Leanne, our next, we just kind of do a little rapid fire questions. It's
Sure.
called we call it the sizzle round, and we'll just kind of alternate. And you can this has gone many different ways with our guests, and all
Mhm.
in good ways. Some like just fire answers off. We move on to the next one. Someone has a story behind it too. It's
Okay.
all completely up to you how you want to do it. But we have probably about a dozen questions here, just kind of some favorite things or preferred things, and whatever comes to your mind that you want to share would
Sure.
be awesome. So, all right, Colin, take it away.
All right, we
Okay, here we
ready?
go.
All right, sizzled
Yeah.
up. All right, favorite cut of meat to barbecue?
Beef ribs, and you know what? I really like to cook lamb.
Ooh,
Yeah, believe it or not, even rack of lamb.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so those are my two favorites.
That's awesome. I got questions about lamb, but we'll get to that later. Favorite rub to use?
Oh, well, that would be my pig powder. It's actually my dad's
Is
recipe.
it? Oh, that's
Oh
awesome.
yeah, and so you can go to pigpowder.com and order yours today.
Yeah, I
But
will
it
be.
really is, I have teams out there using it today, and they always send me what they're winning, and they do very well with it. I did very well with it, and I truly did use it. And so my sister and I have taken over the pig powder, since my dad passed a few years ago. And so I do love pig powder, not gonna lie.
Mhm. All right.
all right, big patter. Noted. You might get a
Yep,
couple
right.
more orders tonight.
Yep, and I'm always ordering stuff after interviews.
I will
Oh,
send you some. Oh, and we're coming out. I just finalized about a month or two ago. Spicy pig powder is coming out in all these
Oh,
years,
I
because
love
the
heat.
pig
Oh,
powder
I
has been
love
around
heat.
since the 70s, but I have a spicier one. The pig powder does have heat to it, but now I kicked it up a notch. So that will
Oh,
probably, realistically, I just finished the labels, and I would say mid-April is what we're looking at right now.
awesome,
very
You
awesome.
know how it
awesome. Love
goes. And
that.
then I'll say June. And I'm
Yeah,
shooting for April.
yeah,
Fair
that's
enough.
awesome.
Fair enough. All right. Favorite side to prepare?
Favorite side. Ooh. Um, I don't, I mean, side dishes like vegetables, they're so fast and easy. I like making really good marinades that have, like garlic and olive oil and lemon juice and fresh herbs in it. I can't say that I don't really have a favorite side, I don't think.
Okay.
Can't think of one
No,
off the top of my head.
no worries.
All
I
right.
No
like
worries.
asparagus though.
Yeah, I have good
Oh,
asparagus too.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's great.
yeah, so do I. Um, do you have a favorite dessert using the pit or not using the pit?
So my dad's mother, my grandmother, she had this pie she used to make for us growing up, and she even named it her own design pie. And it is traditional pie crust, but the filling is made with just egg yolks and some vanilla. It's like a custard base.
Oh,
And then after you bring it out of the oven, you sprinkle semi-sweet chocolate chips on top. And then, because those will melty, and then you put a meringue on top and put it back in the oven. And there's nothing like it. And so I decided to cook this in an anything but category. All right. And my dad was like, this is not going to work. And I was in Danville, Virginia. I did it on a bullet. I have pictures of the whole thing. And I cooked that whole darn pie. And I thought, you know what? It's going to taste like smoke, because I had never done it before.
yeah.
I ended up getting a perfect 180. It didn't even taste like smoke. Obviously, I didn't put wood on it. I just charcoal, and I had the water pan in between. It was definitely, it took some time. I did it very low temperature and it worked out fine. Yeah. So that's my special dessert that I.
Oh, that sounds delicious.
That's good.
Wow, I'll try that one for sure. Let's see. I think
right.
you're up, Colin.
Yep. Your preferred smoker / grill.
So in competition, I like my Jambo for obvious reasons. Big burner, well insulated. I mean, you can do just about everything on it. It really depends on what meat I'm cooking. That's why I bring so many different cookers to competitions. For a pork butt, I like a good old traditional bullet, Weber bullet's great. And I just got a brand new Pit Boss, and I'm absolutely loving that because it has the direct heat feature too.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And also I have a Pit Boss that's a ceramic cooker, like a green egg. Love that. Love that. So, it really depends on what I'm cooking. But my Jambo's close to my heart. I love that thing. I will never sell that.
Yeah.
I say that.
Awesome.
Well, I'm definitely interested in the next one, Leanne, because you mentioned that you have went to 50 degrees higher since you started. So what is your preferred smoking temperature you would like that you usually use?
275.
We hear that a lot. That's like,
actually, I've cooked at 275 for quite a few years. Pork butts, I still like it at 225. I know that's crazy. But 275 seems to be the magic number for me.
All right. And then the next one, preferred wood to smoke with. I know we touched on this a little bit already, but.
Are you talking about at home or just like competitions? I always use cherry on my brisket, always.
Yeah.
And then I use usually oak and apple on chicken and ribs. It's interesting on this Jed Master, it has the ring of fire. So it starts at one end and it slowly burns in a circle. So what I do is, like, for the longer cooks, like the pork butt and the brisket, the wood that I want on that, I'll put at this end. And once that burns through, and then when I get down to my ribs, which is going to obviously take less time, then I'll throw in, different woods, the apple and that sort of thing. But yeah, we talked about the woods before. I really like fruit woods, cherry, apple, peach. I like oak. I like hickory.
Is there any wood that you kind of try to avoid when you would say that is a little bit harder to work with, or you just don't like the flavor of it?
I'm very, very picky about bark on my wood. I do not like bark on my wood. I feel like it makes your food taste bitter. I don't know if it's in my head or not, but I like all the bark off my wood. I mean, that's home cooking or a competition.
That's a really good tip.
Like old wood either. It's got to have, a certain moisture content to it. I'm not a scientist or anything, but and I can be cheap sometimes, but I'm not going to use an old piece of wood that I know has been sitting there for a long time. That'll go into the fire pit.
Yeah. So is there a favorite pit master that you have worked with?
I'm really glad that I moved down to Florida because now I'm closer to my friend Ray Lampy, and I've been friends with him for years, and we've been through a lot of interesting ventures along the way. And I would cook with him any day. And he's so funny and such a great cook. He can cook any type of food. And we just have a great time together. So it would be Ray.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right. Favorite streaming stations or music to listen to while barbecuing?
I'm a classic rock girl.
Awesome.
I'll take a few from Metallica even.
Nice. Oh, there you go.
Aerosmith, Leonard
Yep.
Skinner, Van Halen. It's showing my age, but yeah, I love classic rock.
That's awesome. Our last one from the sizzle round, and I'm always intrigued by this one. Is there and maybe when you're barbecuing at home, because I know on the competition series it won't be, but do you have a favorite beverage you like to have while you're firing up the pit at home or anything?
I'll tell you what I like to have after the comp is done. And that my dad and I had, and he had this green little duffel bag, and he would take towels and wrap these cut crystal glasses in it that were not perfectly cut. If they had a chip, he would have them sanded down so it wasn't like a super expensive glass. And then he brought pig's nose whiskey, and we would always do a shot after the comp of pig's nose. Yeah, that was a big tradition. And
awesome.
when I went through those days where I was drinking cheap wine, but I like something more refreshing. And another thing that he got me into is Campari and soda, which, is a little bitter, but then you put, with the soda and a nice little wedge of orange is refreshing, and it's kind of fun.
Oh, definitely. I like that pig nose whiskey, that tradition. I'm a big sucker for tradition, and I just love that story. That was awesome. So, Leanne, we're kind of wrapping up here, and to end our interview, I know the fans would love to know what you're up to and what you may have coming up in the mix. I know you talked about your spicy, your rub coming out.
So the spicy pig powder's coming out. I have been doing 2 events a month for Sam's Club. I'm part of their Super Chef program. And it isn't just like sampling, you're actually cooking recipes and showing people. And I love the interaction with the people. And I do different recipes every month. So I enjoy that. And it takes me to different Sam's Clubs, and I get to see and meet different people there. And then I do special events with Pit Boss, and there's a few that haven't been finalized yet, so I can't talk about that. I did film a show. There's 6 shows. It's called Grilling at the Green, and it is a golf lifestyle show with a grilling section to it. And that will be streaming soon. And I'm shooting the next one out in Oregon in June. And what else can I tell you? Oh, you know what else is fun? My sister, she's a food stylist out in LA. And occasionally she'll call me up and she'll say, hey, we're doing, something grilling. You want to fly out and do this? And if I'm available, sure, I'll do it. Well, last year I went to Texas and I did a Pepsi commercial with Bobby Flay. And I did for the commercial. And it was so fun, and it was because, and then I saw him again. He's like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what are you doing here? It was like, really, we're filming the new show. Why don't you come down to the set? And I couldn't, but that was a lot of fun. And, food styling's cool to see what goes on behind the scenes. I did an Outback commercial and Popeyes. So my sister has thrown a few of those. And so that's fun. And yeah. So
that's awesome.
All kinds of stuff these days.
That's awesome. That's exciting. It's awesome that you can just do it too. You have that opportunity. That's so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Colin, do you have any other questions for Leanne?
Not that I can think of, no.
Oh. Well, I appreciate you guys asking me to be on the show, and it was a real pleasure. And I'm glad that you guys are doing this. And I hope you stick with it, because I actually do Barbecue Nation radio podcast. I'm a co-host each week.
That's awesome.
And there's a lot of work that goes into it. And I know you guys are teachers, and there's a lot of work that goes into teaching. I feel like I just hope that you guys can continue to do it all and just keep, barbecue going along. Because I almost feel like there's been a lull in barbecue.
Yep.
I don't know why. It's just kind of stagnant.
Yeah.
And I don't know why I feel that way. I don't know if other people feel that way, but it just, I don't know. I don't know what, I just have a weird feeling about it right now.
Especially for us, up in Wisconsin, barbecue is not huge up in Wisconsin either. So that's part of our inspiration here too, is to not only get better at barbecuing ourselves, but also to meet other local people that we could, get to know and then bounce ideas off of and stuff like that too.
Yeah. It is amazing how the kids, how it's like parents don't realize that kids can actually do this too. And kids really like to cook. And I just love that they've added Kids Q. My dad, I think, did one of the first Kids Q with Mike Mills in North Carolina. And I'm just glad to see that still sticking around. And I feel like it's growing. So I like to see that happening. That's great.
Yeah, my basement's a mess, but we got the Flay kitchen right back there, and that's one of the
I see it.
It took me way too long to put together, but my kids use it a lot. And when I get
That's awesome.
My daughter likes to tell me that I put the wood in wrong, and she's
there you go.
It's crazy, Leanne, because my daughters help me a lot when I'm barbecuing, and it's but they're excited. Like I was before I came or went upstairs to do this pod or interview, I told my daughters, like, all right, I'm going upstairs, and they're usually out the side door listening. And like, who you interviewing? And I told them, I go, and she beat Bobby Flay. And they're like, we're gonna find the episode. We're gonna watch it as soon as you get down here, Dad. And I'm like, okay, we'll do that. So it's just that impact, you have on the inspiration of even some, Midwestern little girls up here that will learn from you and try to be like you.
It's awesome. I'm glad I have that impact. It's not something that I intentionally do, but it's nice because I like to encourage not only children, but women. And I feel like even women in barbecue, it's kind of just staying flatlined. There's more in it now for sure than it was in the past, but I just don't feel like it's grown a lot.
Yeah, no, I see that. It was like, it kind of like really took off during COVID, and like even more than I've like ever, I always followed, I always barbecued, and I used to do it with my grandfather too. We weren't good at it, but we did it. And that's why I said I was interested in the lamb, because he did a lamb one time and it was not good. But stuff. And now, and I think it's hopefully, skyrocketing again, because it's such a great way to make food.
Yeah, I agree.
And
well, you guys are helping in keeping that process going. So thank you for that.
Oh, we thank you too. So, Leanne, I hope our paths collide sometime, and
we can meet real face to face.
Yes, I know, definitely. We have been so fortunate to have so many great guests, and to have someone of your caliber and your influence has been phenomenal. We thank you so much for taking time for a couple of teachers here. So,
okay.
And so we always end our podcast with smoke on. So if you would please, Leanne, end our our podcast with a little sign off of smoke on, it'd be greatly appreciated.
You just say smoke on?
Yeah, that's all we do. Yep. Or you can say anything if you want to too as well. Anything else? Al Fragoni had a whole line he did. So whatever you like. So whenever you're ready.
Do I say it?
Yeah, you say it. You say it. Yep.
Okay. All right, everybody, smoke on and on and on and on.
And on. Love it.